In 1 or 2 months, I gained more than 200,000 subscribers. How can I tell the best story possible? If you just follow that framework, then you're going to build like a very, very strong confidence.
That's what makes Niklas Christl different.
There's a reason why self-development goes so well together with storytelling, which is that
Are you ready? What makes a good story? Is it characters? Is it conflict? Is it cinematics? Well, today we are joined by one of YouTube's fastest growing creators who was able to gain over 200,000 subscribers in a month and a half through some of the most spectacular storytelling on the platform, as well as the importance of confidence and taking risks. Hi there, I'm Robbie and you're watching or listening to the Lost Creator Podcast, a show where we interview some of the most unique and influential people in the content creation world in the hopes of inspiring you to escape the 9-to-5 and live out your dreams. And joining us today, as we had him last week, the incredible Mr. Christian LeBlanc. Thank you for being here.
I'd like to say I escaped.
I
made it.
He did it. And joining us today as well, we have, drum roll please, we have the dawn of storytelling, one of the fastest growing YouTube creators in the current moment in time. We have Mr. Niklas Christl. Round of applause. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. I think that was the best introduction I ever had.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. You actually, they usually say that you shouldn't meet your heroes. So actually, my first question for you is, how do you feel meeting me?
Bro, it's a pleasure. It's an absolute pleasure.
Wow. Wow. Curveball of the century.
No, I do apologize. No, genuinely, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's really, really exciting. I think we're obviously really keen to kind of learn about your story, learn about your background as well, and kind of see what the next steps are for you. So,
can I preface this by saying I didn't actually know really much about you until I think it was 4 months ago. So one of our lead editors kept being like, is this Niklas Christl person? I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, eventually I finally freed up a moment in my day to be like, okay, let's go see what this guy's doing. And I went and clicked on one of your videos and I was like, okay, I get the hype. I get why he's your favorite. And I was a little upset because like they're not, people on the team.
But yes.
Yeah, okay.
People on the team, we have one rule, but when you get hired, it's that Christian LeBlanc has to be your favorite YouTuber.
Yeah.
And so he's been terminated. Luckily, we got rid of him.
Really?
No. But he's on a thin line. He's walking a thin line right now.
Yeah.
He's the reason. I was like, I looked you up and I was like, wow, well, you got something great going, man. And you're young. You're just starting. Your growth has been tremendous. And what I've noticed about your channel, and just so you guys know a little bit about Nicklas, he is. You'll introduce yourself better than even I, but you're a fantastic storyteller. That's what I'll say. You've merged these two worlds of cinematics and storytelling, which is quite typically, one person is good at one or the other. And usually these things kind of fight each other because being cinematic takes away from story, and being a storyteller often means you're kind of neglecting the visuals. But you've merged the two, you've married them. They have a beautiful, loving relationship, and I think that you're gonna go a long way.
Dude, thank you so much.
And
I think that's the best I could hear.
And coming in through that as well, you've also got your personal development. So bringing in all of those things with personal development, having that niche as well is
absolutely we're gassing him up too much.
Yeah, I feel
Let's think about what does he suck at?
Let's wind it back a little bit. Actually,
wait for these a little bit and drop them later.
Yeah. But let's wind it back a little bit with your background. Tell us a little bit more about how it kind of all began, how it started, and what got you into content.
How it all began. Wow. Okay. So I guess, I always kind of struggled to really find what I was passionate about when I was younger. And then I decided to travel for 1 year. I guess that was actually the point where how long ago did you start? Because I started traveling 6 years ago.
2015 was the hobby. 2016 was the full time. Quit my job. No idea what the hell I'm doing, but I'm gonna make it work.
Because as soon as I started to go on that trip, I saw you starting full time with YouTube. You quitting your job and doing your thing, and that was also a huge inspiration for me. But I just went on that trip to just kind of branch out, see what I like, discover myself, all that sort of stuff.
What year was that?
That was 2016.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And
how old were you?
18. I just graduated from high school. Yeah. And so basically I was traveling through Southeast Asia, Australia, and Canada and Alaska. And during that time, I just really got into kind of photography, did a lot of landscape photography, and then got back. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do filmmaking seriously. I'm going to take it seriously from now, because I've been shooting videos ever since I was 12 years old. I've just been doing it as a hobby. And then when I came back from the trip, I was like, okay, come on, filmmaking is a lot of fun. I think that there's a lot of trajectory in that space, and I want to give it a try. And then basically I just did like 2 internships where I got a little bit into kind of like animation, and also worked for a production company. And then I worked for 2 years in a full-time job for another YouTuber, for a racing driver, a German racing driver. Did all of his content, also like some more like cinematic stuff for his sponsors. So that's why I was always a little bit in between kind of like the world of YouTube, which is about storytelling, and a little bit about more like the commercial side. And then, yeah, working for him for 2 years. And then at some point I just said like, yeah, I don't care about filming cars anymore, and I want to do my own thing. And that's where I started my own YouTube channel. And then through COVID, like actually I quit my job just when COVID hit. And then I didn't really have many like freelance projects to kind of like keep me afloat. Obviously I still had savings from the other job. And then that just really kind of like accelerated the whole process, because I was like, okay, I'm going to spend even more time on YouTube now that I don't have that much other work. And then everything just took its turn. Yeah.
So 18 years old, you traveled.
Yeah.
I guess 19 to 21, you worked for the F1 driver.
Yeah, he wasn't an F1 driver, Formula E, but yeah, he was a racing driver. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Maybe someday. You'll make it. Keep trying.
By the way, lads, sorry, can I? Is there any chance I might be able to offer you a drink? We've got a bit of a bar going here, so we've got some whiskey, some G&T.
I'd love to have a gin tonic. Yeah.
Gin tonic? Yeah. We've got G&T. It's pink gin, but you know, we're progressive. It's 2022. I'm
I'll
gonna
have
a whiskey.
pink gin.
Two pink gins, G&T.
Yeah.
G&T. I'll have a whiskey. No surprise there.
No, none at all.
The Irishman having a whiskey.
This is an aside, but funny enough, we met like I guess this is 5 years ago now.
It was 5 years
maybe
ago.
7.
Nah, 5 years ago, I think.
5 years ago.
It was, I think, probably end 2016 or beginning 2017. I was actually like flying to Vancouver to like travel together with my brother. That was kind of like the end of my trip around the world. And then I just landed in Vancouver, first time in Canada, and who do I meet at the airport? The legend himself.
I wish I remembered it.
Yeah, dude. Like,
I
I have to look for the photo.
Yeah.
I might have.
Please,
I might have
if
a look
you
for
find
it,
it,
and if I'm gonna find it, I'm gonna give it to you.
It's gonna be
That'd be the
right
best
here.
thing.
Dude, I had like long hair. I was looking so different. I was looking so different.
And I was too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I was probably looking young, and I probably still had hope in my eyes. You know.
And Nicklas, you went traveling around Southeast Asia. You said to kind of like find yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you find yourself?
I think so.
Where were you? Where were you hiding?
Where was I hiding?
Yeah. Did you find yourself?
So honestly, like, I think that traveling like teaches you a lot about yourself, especially if you're traveling by yourself, solo traveling, just exposed to new like cultures, exposed to new situations. And you just learn a lot about yourself. And I think that's kind of like what I mean by finding myself. Just like everybody knows it, when we're young, nobody really has it figured out. Everything is kind of like in the vague. And after that trip, I felt like, okay, I have a better idea of what I want to do in my life. Like, did you actually want to know in which countries I was? Or?
No.
Okay.
It's just I love that expression. I went to find myself, and I'm always thinking like, were you lost? Were you? Where
I felt like I was really lost before that, when I was more on like sometimes good to get lost, but during that time I was more like in a like down phase where I was really like, I don't know, I was feeling miserable because I just felt like I had to find my life purpose and my passion like at such a young age, because I was about to decide whether or not I'm going to go to uni and what I'm going to do. I have to decide on something and just kind of like stick to it, because that's what society tells us nowadays, right?
That's a time of pressure, hey?
Yeah,
You've got to make those like pivotal decisions of what crossroad you take. Oh, thank you, my good sir.
Wow.
Thank
you.
Sláinte.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Is it
how do you say it?
Sláinte is Irish.
How do you say it in German?
Okay.
Is it
Prost?
Prost.
In Canada, we say, have a good one there, bud.
Cheers, lads.
Oh,
yeah, that's a gold stream.
That's a something. Yeah.
So, Nicklas, sorry, moving back into that, now you've kind of finished working for this race car driver who's also content creating.
Yeah.
What kind of role did you have with him before moving away?
So yeah, basically I was editing all of his YouTube videos. I was filming all his YouTube videos. I was coming up with concepts as well. I was setting up his streaming. You know how it is, like if you're a content creator, you're basically everything. Yeah, so that was sort of my role in the company. And actually, like, he was the son of the owner of a car tuning company, similar to AMG from Mercedes. It was up for Audi. And I was actually employed in that company. So we also made some videos for that car company as well. And
Wow.
we also like traveled around the world to like all the different races for Formula E. Like they have races all around the world. And yeah, that's how I also saw a little bit of the world. And I think was kind of like the time where I got a little bit more into storytelling, just because I was doing like YouTube videos and I was telling his story as the racing driver.
Yeah.
But I think as soon as I started my own channel, that's where I really got like into like deep into storytelling, into really like how can I tell the best story possible.
Would you be here today if it wasn't for that E1 driver role?
I think probably I would be here.
Yeah.
But I think that it taught me a lot that time, and I'm grateful that I had that time. But I think that I left just at the right point. I think as soon as you're not really passionate about the videos you create anymore, and you feel like, I don't know, there's something more I need to do, then I think it's the right time to just go for it and take that leap of faith in yourself to do it. I feel like, honestly, during the time when you're kind of like young, before... I would say before everything, before probably 25, I would always just pick the opportunities where you learn the most and not where you get the most money. And I felt like that job, I mean, I still earned good money for my age, but that job really taught me so much because I had so many different responsibilities very, very, very quickly. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. No, it's incredible when you meet young people that have just kind of found their life's mission. Most people take years to find that.
Yeah.
I consider myself very lucky. I don't know. It kind of happened by accident, but it also happened because I had my eyes open for it. I was looking.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't quite have that until they kind of meet their dead-end job. For me, it was working as an accountant that was like, this can't be it. There has to be something else out there. So, you know, for you, 18 years old, you traveled solo. What was your moment in life where you're like, I need to do something about this?
Before traveling, like that's what I was saying, like that's when I was like 16 or something like that. That's where sort of like these sort of dark years where I was always just kind of like thinking about, okay, I need to I can't go the normal route. I need to find something else. Like I need to find something I'm passionate about, or else.
You found that out early.
Yeah, honestly, like I think that was a huge benefit of mine. I mean, during that time, I was the only guy who was always bringing up those topics in my friend circle, and nobody could relate to me. So that was why it was weird. But with hindsight, I'm super grateful that it happened back then and not later on, to be honest.
Beautiful. Yeah. And look at you now, living in Bali.
Yeah.
You were in South Africa for a while?
I lived in South Africa for the last 8 months, yeah.
In Cape Town?
In Cape Town.
Nice.
In Cape Town.
Was there anything that kind of maybe brought out a little bit more creativity for you being there, or making a transition to moving there?
Dude, like, I feel like just making the step of leaving Germany and kind of like living in other countries, I don't know, it showed me so much more freedom. Like it kind of like, I always knew that I wanted to move to a foreign country at some point, but I never went for it. I always just kind of like waited for it to happen, I guess.
Yeah.
And
you waited so long, like 16. That's kind of late.
Yeah,
15.
Honestly, like when I came back from my trip around the world, I knew that like I wanted to move to a foreign country. Actually, I was thinking about Cape Town at that time already, but I didn't do it because obviously I didn't have any money and all that stuff. But like now actually doing it and being able to live abroad and actually live that sort of like digital nomad lifestyle, it's, I don't know, it feels so liberating and like I'm so appreciative of it now. And also I feel like every time I switch places now, so when I came from Cape Town here to Bali, I get that appreciation again of like, wow, I'm able to do this, which at some point it just slows down. If you live for a year in a place, then it just becomes normal. So I really like it. Yeah.
What drew you to Cape Town to begin with? What was about South Africa?
Yeah, that's always so hard, but I just felt like naturally drawn to it. But I think one thing I was always looking at, I was always thinking about, okay, which place do I want to live in? And I always wanted to have a mix of a city where stuff is happening, but also kind of like nature where I can just like, I don't know, fly my drone and go hiking and all that stuff. I think Cape Town was kind of like the perfect fit in there because it's still a city where there's a lot happening, also becoming a huge like hub for digital nomads, but still it looks like you're living in a freaking national park where there's like mountains, the ocean, penguins on the beach. It's freaking crazy.
Weird,
it's a crazy place.
Did you ever watch Ben Brown?
Not really. I think I was a little bit too old to watch his content when he was like really at his peak.
So
not really
I don't have many YouTubers that I would say I've watched, you know, like I have a few people I've selectively had a few episodes that caught my attention, but I've never been really like into regular, like subscribing to someone.
Not even mine?
Except for you. Except for you. And the funny thing is, like, this is the one person, and his name's Ben Brown.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've totally trailed off from his channel. And I think that happens with almost any YouTuber. Eventually you just kind of go separate ways. But he made me love that place. I saw him, like, driving around his old school Range Rover, cruising through South Africa. And all I could think of is just one day, that will be a little hub that I got to try out, whether it's a month or two. Yeah.
No, I get it. Like, I know what Ben Brown looks like. And also, I saw one or two of his videos. But, like, Cape Town is a vibe. Like, everybody's driving around with those cars. Everybody's just like super open-minded, just like super chilled. Everybody likes to go to the beach. So it's a cool place. Have you ever been there?
No.
Not at all?
No. Gotta save some good things,
100%. Right? That should definitely be a place to, like, I don't know, spend a month or two.
Do you have a crazy travel story?
A crazy travel story? Oh, wow.
Near-death experience?
Yeah, I do have one. Yeah. Okay. So... I've told this story a lot of times, and I'm always thinking, okay, how long should I tell it? But I'm going to keep it a little bit shorter. So basically, it was in Myanmar. So right now, I think you can't even travel to Myanmar because it's kind of like heated up again. But I was there like on my trip around the world. As it is, while solo traveling, you just grab a scooter and you drive to the waterfall that just looks the best on Google Maps, even though it's like 6 hours away or something.
Yeah.
And so I did that, jumped onto my scooter, drove for 6 hours. And sometimes there are also kind of like roadblocks on the road. I was not thinking much about it. Had my AirPods in, like I didn't have AirPods at that time, but like I had my headphones in my ears. Didn't really give a shit. Just got off the road, got on it again, passed through, and then at some point I was driving into this kind of like beautiful scenery, and then suddenly I just heard like a loud bang, and then I was just kind of like braking. I was like, what was that? And then I was looking like if I have a flat tire, but it was like way too loud for that. And then suddenly there came just like 20 soldiers running up to me, and like a guy shot in the air actually. And then I was talking to all of them. They couldn't really speak much English, but one guy was a little bit, had a little bit knowledge in English. And then I was just talking with them, and it turned out that they were kind of like a military group, which also like burnt down a lot of different like refugee camps in Thailand, and like really bad. They had like palm trees like tattooed in their face with AK-47s. It was crazy. And I was chatting with them a little bit, and
pull out the vlog camera. Hey guys.
No, I didn't have my camera there. But yeah, and I think I was happy that it didn't like take me hostage as a tourist or something like that. And yeah, I don't know. They were kind of friendly, and then at some point I just say, yeah, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna drive 6 hours back. Yeah.
I hate to say it, Nicklas, but that would have made for some pretty good content.
Yeah, it would have. It would have. Actually, it turned out to be one of the best days still of my whole trip, I guess. Yeah. Because on my way back, I bumped into some sort of like ceremony, and then they invited me to the ceremony, and they'd never saw a white guy before, and I just spent like, I don't know, 2 hours with them, and afterwards I went to another cave, met some people who I'm still kind of like in contact with today. So
from the cave, like pigeon mail, or how are you keeping up with them?
Yeah.
You sent a picture?
No, just like Instagram, yeah.
Oh, okay, they got internet in the cave.
Yeah, they got it. They got it.
That's Christian, you probably also had some like absolutely bizarre travel stories.
One of them was with you.
That's true. Which one was that? Because there's been a few.
Yeah. Definitely has to go down as the Hadzabe tribe.
Yeah. That was my number one for sure.
Robbie. Well, this is a separate technically trip, but Robbie ended up literally eating the liver out of a live goat. Well, it was no longer alive.
Out of an alive goat?
Well, so it was a raw liver. They gave it to me, but right before that, I'd drank the blood from the goat's neck because they just sacrificed it.
And it was still kind of like the air pockets were coming
out. It was really hot. Like the animal was still warm from the sacrifice.
They told you to do it, or you were just like,
it's emancipation, if
I just gotta do it.
It gives you strength.
Yeah, it's like three steps to becoming a Samburu warrior, which is you drink the blood, you eat the liver, and then I think it was circumcision, but I had to like draw the line somewhere.
and ever since that point, you're carnivore.
You know, I'm almost there to becoming.
I didn't drink the blood, but I had the other part covered. So
yeah.
Together we were Samburu warriors.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty wild. The Hadzabe one was pretty wild. That was in
the Hadzabe tribe.
The drinking the blood was in Kenya.
Hadzabe tribe.
Tanzania.
Yeah.
And the other one was in Kenya.
Kenya.
But with the Hadzabe tribe, the funny thing was, like, literally that day, we're like, so what's today going to look like? They're like, oh, you'll probably be out for like 3-4 hours. This is our guide, by the way.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, no worries. I'll bring my camera bag, as I always do. Load it up with lenses, batteries, you know, I think we had a gimbal, all this ridiculous shit.
Bottle of water, probably about this size.
Yeah.
You know, just to hydrate.
I'm a camel. I don't need much water. So I'm like, I'm going to bring one bottle for like 3 of us. It's fine.
Yeah.
We start following these guys, and apparently they get onto like a trail of baboons or something. So we're like, oh, this is gonna be great for the video. Well, it's only great if you see them. 8 hours later, we're still hunting them up a freaking hill, mountain, I should say, not hill.
Yeah.
And we've not seen the baboons.
No,
we're exhausted. The most humiliating moment of my life is going to our guide Gumbo and being like Gumbo, I need some water. He's got this little camel pack, and it was like a little short straw that like came out from here, and I'm like sucking this grown man's teeth for water, and he's towering, like he's a big man. I'm like, Gumbo, please.
And he's like, there. You know, he's like cuddling you a little bit.
It was God bless. So we survived, but we ended up doing a step counter. Apparently, it was like 34 kilometers we'd done that day, and that was with camera gear, and that like. Again, we thought we'd be gone for what would be like 5, 7, 10 kilometers tops.
Yeah, few hours.
We were destroyed. Robbie's like, go on without me. It was like his first trip too. Like Robbie was like initiated by fire.
Novice in the company,
so he survived that.
Absolutely wild story. Nicklas, sorry. I do want to find out a little bit more about your freelance though, because you did freelance. Was that before or after working for the E1 driver?
E1? No, Formula E.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So it was during my time there. Like I was doing some freelance projects sometimes on the side. And it was like afterwards because like through my other colleague from that job, we sometimes worked for different car brands, and we just kind of like shot commercials or YouTube content for them. And that was kind of like the freelance projects at that time.
So freelance can always be a little bit scary. So what could you advise to maybe someone who's thinking about moving into like doing freelance work?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, it always comes with uncertainty, right? Because you never know.
Obviously, it comes with uncertainty. I think like all you got to do is like you need to like develop your skills to a point where you're really, really good. And then you obviously need to know how to market yourself. If you just have the skills, then it's kind of hard. Like people need to discover how good you are. But I think like develop your skills to a point where you're better than the average. And then know how to price yourself and know how to market yourself and don't undersell yourself. And I think as soon as you're like really confident like towards the clients, then they're also going to feel confident that you're going to provide on what you say, and they're going to be confident in you like pulling off that project. And I think then from there, you're just going to get recommended through like word of mouth, and then it's going to build up to something bigger. But I think it's definitely something I saw myself because I was very young when I did like freelance projects. I mean, I did my first like wedding film when I was like 14.
Wow.
See, this is the changing market of social media, right? Like people used to pick up their cameras if they were lucky at 18. Now it's like 9-year-olds. 7-year-olds are literally like the most. So did you know this? Literally, it's a fact. The most in-demand career by young teens is actually be a YouTuber. Yeah. Even beyond any other platform, but any other career. Like, it used to be astronaut, it used to be like I was the archaeologist kid. I was like, I want dinosaurs. Like, you know, now it's YouTuber, which is crazy. So, like,
and I get it.
We're all screwed, but hey, that's all right. Enjoy it while it lasts, you know? Cheers. One day there's going to be 12-year-olds with their podcast, and we'll all be irrelevant.
And then, Nicklas, you started posting obviously more personal content on YouTube. Was that around February 2020, I want to say?
It was March 2020.
March 2020. And then obviously you saw some absolutely incredible growth. What are the key tips?
Can you tell us about that growth? What was the figure anyways?
Basically, I started like creating my own videos, and as you said, like I made videos about self-development, especially during that time of COVID. My first video was about like you have time, start using it, I think. So it's basically about like how everybody is kind of like in this depression phase, and everybody just has a lot of time, but nobody makes use of it because everybody just watches Netflix and I don't know, spends time at home. So I made a video about that. And from that point on, I just kind of like basically just made stories about my own journey of like growing and like trying out new things. And yeah, I just posted one after another video. At some point I said, like, told myself, okay, I'm going to do like 70% YouTube, 30% client projects. And I was like really strict about it.
Were you posting consistently at the time? Like, did you have a set date time?
Well, not as of like saying that I post once a week or something, but I was really trying to put a video out like once a week or once every second week.
Okay.
And yeah, that worked out quite well. Like, I made different videos. I was still struggling a little bit with my niche at that point because I was not sure if I should like make filmmaking tutorials or if I should tell stories about self-development and myself. So yeah, I just kind of like tried out different things. Sometimes it was a drone tutorial. Sometimes it was a video about how to find your passion, for example. And yeah, at some point, they just started to get more and more traction. And then
was it immediate? Like, how long did you go where you felt that it was kind of an unrecognized channel? Was it the first month, the first 6 months?
Not really. Like, I felt like it was never really an unrecognized channel, which is, I'm super privileged to say that.
Interesting.
I mean, I had my YouTube channel for like years before, just uploading like cinematic small videos that I made or like portfolio work and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I also had like 3 different channels when I was younger, like together with friends and all that stuff. But like, because I worked for 2 years for another YouTuber and racing driver, I knew like what was happening behind the scenes, and I knew like, what was the potential in it. Yeah. And I mean, I was kind of like managing his channel. And then basically I just said, okay, like, I have something important to tell and I know how to tell it. And I made my videos, and I think also the first video had like, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 clicks after a few days.
Yeah.
Which is
good.
Which
really
is
good.
recognized, I would say.
Yeah. Like, if you go on TikTok, that's like not great because most algorithms, but like on YouTube, like 17 views is probably like a good start for your first video.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's great.
And so that's why I got started very quickly with like a couple thousand views, and then I just built up from there. And then some videos just got like, I don't know, around 50K, and then it just started to add up. And yeah, that's when at some point when I had 50,000 subscribers, I just said like, okay, fuck it, I'm going to drop freelance projects altogether because like YouTube is where I want to go long term. And I was not really earning much money from YouTube at that time, but I was sure that like this is going to work itself out because I feel like people care about the videos and I'm going to grow into it.
That level of confidence, especially when there's no proof in the pudding, as my mom would say, where do you find that?
I think confidence kind of comes from like small wins. I think that as soon as you try something risky and you see, okay, like this worked out, then you're going to be more confident to try something a little bit more risky. I think I just kind of like tried to kind of like lean into that risk and just like try out something. And as soon as I saw feedback, okay, like people are receiving that well, or like, okay, this is growing, or okay, I'm getting a little bit of money from YouTube ad revenue, then I was like, okay, what can I do next to like risk a little bit more? And I think that as soon as you have that first win and you really like let it go to yourself and like you take that confidence and do something bigger, then it's just like a stairway and you just keep going. Like if you just follow that sort of like framework, then you're going to build like a very, very strong confidence quite quickly.
Yeah, I love that. For me, like honestly, when I quit my 9 to 5,
yeah,
you're gonna have to get yourself some new pants.
Oh fuck! I'm spilling gin everywhere here, man.
Yeah, you didn't see the behind the scenes where Nick was just. I'm just kidding.
It's his fourth.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop that here.
But what else? Oh god, that's a disaster.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
If you want to put it down for a bit, you can pop it down on the floor.
You know what? Let's send them. Send them off.
Let's just send them
off.
Send them off. Oh, bloody hell. Okay.
Should we top it up?
Woo!
Yeah,
I think I'm okay for now.
Yeah, we should, I think. So the point where I quit my job was on paper a very irrational place. I think I had 2,000 subscribers and I had 5,000 tops.
Yeah.
I had about 15,000 on Instagram. But you know what actually gave me the confidence to quit my job was, first of all, I hated my job. Secondly, it was that I looked on Social Blade. And if you guys don't know what Social Blade is, it's a website where you can basically track the growth of pretty much any YouTuber. I think it used to work with Instagram. It might not anymore. But anyways, so I could see that every day I was growing anywhere from 25 to 50 subscribers. So I took out a calculator and I asked myself, okay, if I never posted another video, I could see from like the last 90 days that I pretty much had that same growth pattern. I was growing X amount. So I asked myself, if I didn't even post a video, what would that mean in terms of following after 1 year? And honestly, I added it all up and I was like, I'm comfortable with that. If I didn't even post and that was my growth, I think somewhere in that 20,000 or 10,000 people that would first find my channel in year one, there'd be some way to monetize. It might not be meaningful. It might not mean I live comfortably, but there'd be something there. And so I asked myself, now what's going to happen if I don't just let my channel cruise, but I actually actively pursue this business with every fiber of my body? So I quit my job with that belief that it was foolproof. If I put in everything I had as a total like inexperienced creator who was scared of the camera, who had no idea how to shoot anything other than in auto settings, I'm sure there's a way that I'll be able to at least expedite that growth rate. Sure enough, I did. The moment I went on my first trip, I think it was first Thailand. Thailand was moderately successful. I was getting about, I think, 5,000 views per video. And the second trip, month number 2, that's kind of where like there was the point of like no looking back. Most people think it's like gonna take a year or 2 years. It's like when you're all in, sometimes like when you find your place, and I think I was very fortunate I found my place so quickly. It was like the Philippines series. It was like 30,000 views a video.
Oh, wow.
And literally like it was just like, I mean, it wasn't like, you know, crazy, you know, adrenaline rocket propelled growth forever, but it was an incredible reminder of like, there's something here. Don't give up. And that for me was so exciting. And I think my takeaway, because this is a bit of a side tangent, is guys, do not for a second think that this is a career reserved to a select few that have film school. It's to those who are courageous. That's what it is. It's courage, not talent.
Can confirm.
Taking risks as well.
Risks.
100%.
You got to risk it for the biscuit.
Risk it for the biscuit.
If I had merch, that's what it was. Thank you, my good sir.
Thank you.
Post.
Send it off.
Post. Slancha.
Send it off.
No. Bloody chance.
Okay, not quite yet.
No, like I totally agree to what you say there. And I think it can take years. It can take years for some people, but what you've been saying, like as soon as you believe in yourself completely and you just go all in, it's going to go so much quicker than you expected. Like, because suddenly you just like quit your job, you just say, okay, I'm going to give 100% at YouTube. And you just like realize, fuck, I have so much time to do my videos. I don't have like 2 hours in the evening after work where I feel drained, but I can dedicate all my time towards it. And that like makes it so much quicker to grow.
Do you believe you could have done this again if you started from scratch today?
Yeah. Like, what do you mean? Like, if I would start a YouTube channel right now?
Let's test it. Let's just take his channel away.
Yeah.
It'll be Lost LeBlanc 2.
Yeah.
Dude, 100%.
And let's let this be a test.
No, I mean,
no, I
think 100%. As soon as you have the skills and as soon as you know how it works and you have the confidence, I think you can definitely do it. Also, if you, for example, say, hey, I don't know, I learned the business side of specific things, and for some reason your business goes to shit, you are confident enough and you know how it works to build up another business which is also going to succeed.
And that's what's beautiful about skills is like even Joe Biden's printing press can't take that away from you. Like he can run that shit and we're still with our skills. You know?
Even the guy who like put Fire Festival together, he's still like making business plans, right?
So,
as soon as you know how to do it,
a great example of of a wonderful businessman.
You can do it again. No, but Nicklas, you did see definitely a boom in one of your videos, which is your dopamine detox video. It's at 8.7 million views now, which is
it's ridiculous.
It's a great video.
It's a great video, and what kind of like sparked the idea for that in the first place? You know. It's such an original concept.
Give us a little brief of what that video is and then jump into that.
Got it. So my dopamine detox video was about sort of like not using any harmful external dopamine sources. That sounds complicated, but basically it means like not using social media. It means not using any digital form of entertainment like Netflix or TV, no video games.
No self-gratification.
No self-gratification. I mean, that's kind of like all of these sources. Like no junk foods and kind of like that. And so basically I just did that for 7 days and I made an experiment about it. And then I just kind of like documented what happened throughout that time. Like if
7 days.
Yeah.
So if I do 8 days, I'll get more views?
Try it.
Right.
No, but like I think it was a really interesting experiment. The original idea came from my social media detox. So I think probably 6 months before that video, I made a social media detox where I detoxed from, like, I didn't use social media for like 30 days. And I also documented my process of like what's happening in my life. Do I gain more mental clarity? Am I going to spend more time with my friends? Am I going to be more productive and focused? Stuff like this. And that video actually was my first viral video. That video has 2 million views. And after that, I was thinking, okay, like, this is a very interesting concept and I really enjoyed it and people seem to like it. And I think that it has like a very strong message, which I want to share, that like, you shouldn't get lost in all of these kind of like addictive sources of dopamine. I mean, it's kind of counterintuitive to being a YouTuber, but I really like internally felt like this is important to say because so many people get lost in it. And that's where at some point I just... Okay, now I got it. But yeah, that's why I was thinking, okay, how can I make this social media detox a little more interesting and how can I take it to the next level? And that's where I said, okay, there is actually this sort of like addictive pattern, not only happening on social media, but it is happening in porn. It is happening in like junk food and sugar. It is happening in like all sorts of different things, like video games, all like these different things which we think are so common, actually just try to kind of like hook us in and just give us dopamine hits in order to keep us going and keep spending time at there. Because
was this the moment that personal like self-help brand kind of integrated into what Niklas Christl is today? Was that the starting point of it? Or was there...
I think the starting point was kind of like, it was similar to the first video I made with like, you have time, use it during COVID, right. where I already kind of like talked about my journey of, okay, like we are in this situation, which is kind of like, let's make the most of it. And I think that like the dopamine detox was more about kind of like, okay, there is something subconsciously happening here, which probably nobody realizes and everybody just blindly goes with it. But like, it's worth to give it a different perspective and to see it differently and maybe reprioritize how you spend your time.
Yeah. I think creators are made up of several different niches and brands, and that's what makes them stand out. And for you, my eyes, is that you kind of bring in like a little bit of different, things. You bring in personal self-help, you bring in cinematics, and you bring in like, quality entertaining storytelling. And those three things are like, that's what makes Niklas Christl different. Like you've got Matt Diavella, who's like personal self-help, but like he doesn't quite lean into like the visuals the way you do. So like, every YouTuber has to kind of figure out like what are going to be their strong points. And I think you've really paired together in a very beautiful symbiotic way, which is again, a compliment to your ability as a creator.
Thank you. Yeah. So as I said, like I also struggle with finding my niche, and I think every YouTuber does, to be honest. Like everybody goes, like they start their YouTube channel and suddenly you have to know what exactly your videos are about, and every video has to be kind of similar to the other one so that the audience can relate to like the different videos. But that's just not how it works. Like you need to take a couple of like months or even years to figure out what is your calling, what is your mission, what is your channel about. And I think it's really important to be able to kind of like try out those different things and then at some point to just say, okay, that's the way I'm going to do it. Because for me, I had always like filmmaking and self-development. And at some point I just said, okay, I want to use filmmaking as a tool to create stories about self-development, which are going to inspire other people. That change, I actually made it probably 6-7 months ago to actually just say, I'm going full in just my story and inspiration route, I guess, and not just like doing drone tutorials and stuff like this. And that's what I've kind of like shifted towards my own course.
Does that mean you would never ever do more tutorials on your YouTube channel then?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure. I might do, but I think that like learning all the things about storytelling and filmmaking, I'm just going to kind of like put it into my course, but I'm not going to sort of like, I just think it's so much more fun for people to watch videos about stories, and I just enjoy those videos also a lot more to create. Yeah. And I think that's really kind of like my purpose and my mission is to inspire other people to kind of like follow their passion and to try the things that they're scared of and to just grow as a person. So yeah, I would much rather kind of like go on really like insane trips, tell the most insane stories that are out there and also show my own growth of like growing as a person. I don't know. That's just what excites me.
Well, I'm curious to know though, because obviously as a channel that does prioritize quite a lot of storytelling in the videos, what does a production timeline look like for a Niklas Christl video?
Yeah, it differs from video to video, but I would say probably a week a good week for a video. But honestly, like, it depends from video to video. If I can shoot all the different shots at home because it's a video about my daily routine, then I can do it in a week. If it is a video about me being for, like, I don't know, 4 days on a trip in the middle of nowhere in Sweden on a dog sledding trip or something like that,
video.
Then it's going to be a lot longer.
But sort of breaking that down a little bit. Let's say sort of like moving from pre-production, production
Yeah, so
into
I would say
post-production.
probably like pre-production with like scripting and kind of like planning the shoot is probably going to be around 2 days. 2, like maximum 3 days. I think 2 days. Shooting probably 2 days, let's say, and then editing is gonna be another, like, 4 days. I would
4 days,
say.
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But
Yeah.
it always differs from project to project, and I have a lot of projects that I'm shooting over a longer time period, which I think is also something that I'm doing that not many other creators are doing, and I think that's one sort of like interesting aspect also that helps a lot with storytelling, is to shoot over longer periods of time. Like, for example, my marathon video, I shot that video over 9 weeks of training. Like, that was 2.5 months basically of like different moments captured, and if you do that, then you can compress so much information into like a short time frame, and you're going to see a very strong change in me as the main character, you know, like you see, okay, like this guy actually goes through a change, while if you just do a video of 1 day, then it's not that impactful, I guess.
That's interesting. So many platforms are prioritizing quantity over quality, and what you're saying here is kind of like the inverse, right? It's like the more time you spend on a video, the more you get back from that single video. Now, I'm curious, like, I've seen you on long form. Have you been playing around with short form at all? I don't think I've seen you doing
a little bit, I guess, a little bit. I mean, posted a few FPV drone shots that I liked with some music on top or some some good sound design, but I didn't get far into it. Like, we're right now experimenting a little bit now that I also have like 2 people working together with me.
So you're a team of 3, including you.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're trying it a little bit for my sort of more like editing assets shop, where I'm sort of like selling LUTs and all that sort of stuff. That's where we're experimenting a little bit, because I feel like, okay, short form content has a lot of potential to reach a lot of people, but I'm not super passionate about it. That's why we're kind of like using it to, a little bit of like to use it as marketing.
Can totally relate.
But honestly, my heart is 100% at like long form. I love to go deep into topics. I love to tell stories, I don't know, which are really impactful and strong, and leave the viewers with kind of like, I don't know, where they first have to take a breath and say like, wow, what did I watch just now? And I feel like short form doesn't really give you the ability to go that deep. Because like, even if it's short form, and I don't know if you're allowed to do 1 or 2 or 3 minutes video on Instagram or TikTok, the ones that perform the best are still the ones which are, I don't know, 8 to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
All the short dopamine hits, and I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest. So that's why I really like to focus on the long form content.
Do you get
so you don't
FOMO?
consume.
Are you worried you're missing out on the short trend?
Not that much, to be honest. Like, what I was saying, like, I see that tons of people are getting like really like a lot of views, a lot of followers from it, but I don't feel like I'm missing out too much on it, because I feel like my skills are really in the long form, and I always told myself like I want to do the stuff I'm passionate about, and that's why I just kind of like, when it comes to all my personal stories and all the self-development content, I want to keep it long form. Obviously, you can have repurposing, I don't know, having an editor to kind of like change your long form YouTube videos into short form snippets or something like that. But for me, it was just never really a big priority. And I feel like long form is always going to be there, like even in 10, 20 years from now. And I feel like in long form, there's a lot more value than in short form. And I think that's super important to realize for a lot of creators, that like short form can get you quick to a lot of followers or views. But I always say the deeper your content, the deeper the trust to your audience as well.
I love that.
And I think that means a lot, because like, if you have short form and you have a huge following, that doesn't mean that you're able to monetize your channel in many ways, because these people are just there to get their dopamine hit. But if they watch a video for a long time and they relate to you as a person, they build a lot of trust, which also obviously that trust reflects onto your sponsors, that trust reflects onto your your own products.
Well, no wonder nobody's watching your short form. They're all doing a dopamine detox.
Yeah, exactly.
You basically told them not to go on short form.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I think that means you probably don't consume as
Sorry?
much. I think that means you probably don't consume as much short form yourself, right? Because I think usually it's one of those ideas of like the platform that you're going to spend more time creating towards is the platform that you consume the most content from, because you understand it better. So you're consuming less. Obviously, your big growth came in 2021. That was like a really big exponential growth. So what were some of the highs and lows for you of 2021? Especially coming out of like 2021 being the year that was coming out of COVID, mainly.
So I guess like obviously the point where my channel really exploded was that dopamine detox video. As soon as that video went viral, I think before the video, I'm not sure, but I think before the video I had like 60,000 subscribers, and after that video I had like more than 300,000 subscribers.
Wait, say that again. 50 to 300?
355, I think.
But I definitely gained. I think I gained in 1 or 2 months. I gained more than 200,000 subscribers.
Bro, we gotta do 8 days.
Do it.
Give up on the dopamine.
Let's do one together.
But it's so hard. It's so hard.
Yeah. So honestly, like it was kind of like the story of like just going viral somewhere, and so everything kind of exploded.
But what's good about your virality, and a lot of people don't have this, is they get a viral hit, they get an audience, but then their next content doesn't align. Your content has stayed true to the core message. So while the dopamine detox was maybe the first video they saw, when they landed on your platform, your videos were all aligned with that same messaging, which is where I think you translated that from just being a follower, subscriber, to being an actual community member.
Yeah.
Am I fair in saying that?
To some degree, I think, but I was still at that point where I haven't 100% figured out my niche. So I was still creating a little bit of filmmaking content, a little bit of self-development content. And that's what I was struggling with at that time. The next video after publishing my dopamine detox video was a freaking Photoshop tutorial. It got 200k views, probably because of the algorithm. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I've been very torn in between those two different niches, and it kind of like teared me apart from the inside. And at some point when I just said, okay, like this is what I want to do, this is the content I enjoy, and the other one I'm just going to kind of like put it behind a paywall, because I feel like people are happy to pay for like learning those skills.
No doubt.
It freed up myself a little bit, and also it made the whole channel a lot more I don't know, it just like people knew what to expect from my videos. And of course people are going to want to learn these skills from you, because they know you don't just post these videos by accident. You got to know how to make videos by, Premiere Pro, Final Cut, whatever you use. Like, so it's a really smart thing that I think you've done. Thank you. And I think like what you've been saying, to some degree, as I said, like it's still definitely is true that like I had a lot of self-development content already on my channel. So if you just like make one video and it goes viral, it doesn't give you anything. But if people like, if you already created, let's say 30 videos about similar topics, and then your video goes viral, and then people kind of like start to discover your channel, and then they watch different videos, they build trust to you, they subscribe to your channel, then they become a community member, and then they're actually like long-term subscribers. So that's why I think in the case of my dopamine detox video, I'm super happy that it happened at that time, and that it didn't happen with my first video or something like that.
I think the success story of this month from what I'm seeing, like on all short form platforms, is like, it's called Knuckleberry Farm, I think. It's like this emu and this girl.
Oh,
and it's unbelievable.
Where she's telling him to like
Emmanuel, and he keeps knocking the camera over, and like that's funny and all. But what's great is when I clicked on her profile, I was like, oh my God, this has been going on for 6 months or 8 months. Like, she's got a library full of these characters. Like, she's got a deer, she's got an emu, she's got these like little cows. And because like you have a whole like platform, essentially, you have a ton of content to consume after. It's not just like, oh, that was nice, I'll see you later. It's like, oh, I'm going to hang around because I know based on the past, I can expect something from the future. And I think that's something that's so crucial. It's like, we can't really choose when we go viral, but it's definitely not a bad thing that you have some sort of like a brand that's recognizable.
Like a red line in your channel.
And people can at least expect what's coming next.
Yeah.
It definitely helps.
Yeah, 100%.
And when it comes to like what is coming next, I think obviously a lot of people are curious as to like, how do you come up with these ideas for self-development? And a part B to my question there would actually be like, how does it actually affect, because you obviously put them into practice, like you're trying this out 7 days dopamine. How does it actually affect your life in the long term?
You mean how like the different videos affect my life, or?
Well, we all know how doing well in videos on YouTube affects your life. No, but I mean like when you do something that is for self-development.
Yeah.
Like the dopamine detox, for example. Have you started doing that a little bit more frequently in your life? Even though you don't document about it. Like how do those things that you're trialing out affect your more day-to-day life?
So I kind of like see my YouTube channel as sort of my own journey as a person to grow. And if I do a video about dopamine detox, I don't do it to go viral, but I feel like, man, this is actually something I want to try because I want to find out for myself what it is like.
Yeah.
And that's like why I sometimes do those experiments. I did another experiment which was in a similar sense as a dopamine detox, where I replaced my phone with an alarm clock and always kind of like locked my alarm clock out of my bedroom. And I do these things to just kind of like remind myself that like maybe life without our phones to some degree is like very, very nice, to be honest. And that's why I definitely like take inspiration from my own videos. I go through those different experiences, go through those experiments, and then I establish some sort of rules for my own life. But still, like, I'm not doing a dopamine detox all the way through all the time.
Of course.
But still, I think I'm a lot more aware of when I'm going to spend time on social media or when I'm not going to spend time on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just bought like 3 alarm clocks for me and my team. But I doubt that
your team
anybody's
hates
using
you.
them. I doubt that anybody's
They're like,
using
oh
them.
wow, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put that over here.
It's hard. It's just the default way to just like go on your phone in the evening or in the morning. But I'm definitely like, I'm trying to work on it myself as well.
Yeah, Nick locks them in their room at the end of the night, and he's like, "All right, the alarm's just outside. You guys stay in there." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of coming up with more of these kind of concepts, like how do you think about? Here's how I want to next improve myself. Where do you look? Where does one look?
Yeah. I feel like some people just have ideas just like coming out of themselves all the time. I'm definitely one of these people. So I sort of like, I think I have a quite good ideas workflow where basically just like in my sort of software where I do everything Notion, there I just like have one idea section, and every time something pops into my mind which I find interesting, I just go in there, I write down, I don't know, 4 bullet points, what it is about, and then I just leave it there. And then at some point, if I say, okay, I want to like make a new video, I go to that ideas database and I just pick one that I want to do, and then I actually kind of like go a lot deeper into it. So I think that's kind of like the key to, everybody has ideas at some point, and if you have those ideas, just you have to write them down or else you're going to forget them. Mm-hmm. But sometimes obviously I also take time to just develop new ideas where I'm sort of like thinking, hey, like, what is it that I want to learn right now, and what is it that is going to help me grow as a person? And I think that's the thing, like, because you've been saying, okay, cinematic storytelling and self-development goes so well together, and there's a reason why self-development goes so well together with storytelling, which is that you are going to change as a character. There's going to be a character transformation, mm-hmm. and you have a goal to be at a different point by the end of the video than at the beginning of the video. And mm-hmm. I think that's just something that, I don't know. You
should have worked on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I have a little quiz for you guys. What is the one similarity that every story has?
A character with a goal.
Conflict?
No. Probably, but no.
Probably.
That's not the one I'm going for.
Okay.
What every story
You bought me a book for Christmas. I read the first 4 chapters.
And then chucked it.
I didn't chuck it. It's probably somewhere. It's probably in a landfill somewhere, so don't say I chucked it.
No. Okay, so you read the first chapter. 4 chapters.
The opening line was the thing that stuck with me. It's like, every story is change.
Yeah.
Change is like the one thing every story has in common. Like a conflict is change. You know, it's like things were good and then they're bad.
Yeah.
You know, you were healthy and then you were sick. Yeah. You were happy and then you were opposed by an enemy. Like, you know, it's always about change.
Yeah.
And I just find storytelling like the most fascinating thing. For me, if there's one skill I can take away from as a YouTuber that I'm still trying to really develop, that's the sound of a 6 whiskey right now. Third podcast, 6 whiskey. Let's go. For me, the main thing I'm trying to get away from all of this is like how to become a better storyteller. Like whether that means like on-camera presence, whether it means my written, my verbal. So
Yeah, yeah.
I love the pursuit of perfection.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love storytelling because it's an endless pursuit. You'll never be the best you can be in storytelling.
100%. 100%. There's so many.
So thanks for the book, by the way.
No worries. Very happy
and thank
to
you
help.
for the packing cubes for my suitcase.
Are
I
you
used them.
still
I did
using
not
them?
use them. No.
No, you've
No,
given
of
up
course
on
I
them.
don't use packing
You
cubes.
did. You had a great start with them, and then it
Yeah,
just
it was nice start.
Yeah, but like I 100% feel you when it comes to storytelling. It's the same for me. I'm still learning so many different things, and I feel like just human interaction and psychology directly like reflects onto storytelling, and that's what you say. Like it's all about like planning, shooting, editing. There's in every step there is something you can improve when it comes to storytelling. So, I think the same with like you're never going to learn everything, but like you should try to learn everything.
Yeah.
There was one thing that I did want to ask you though, Nicklas, which is obviously I think recently you did meet Sam Calder, which I know is obviously a big inspiration for you in terms of like the cinematics stuff and the storytelling. You know, obviously, what does it feel like now to be someone that people look up to the way you might have been looking up to Sam?
Yeah, it's weird. Like I think I never would have expected to be in the position where people look up to me. But I think it's really cool. I don't know, like every person I meet, I try to kind of like sort of be on eye level with them, just like be as if they would meet a friend. And I love meeting people who look up to me. But still it feels weird to me. I don't know. It just feels like, I don't know. I guess I would never have expected it, but it also shows in a way that like if you believe in yourself and if you just like put the work in and go all the way, then it pays off. But yeah, it still feels weird to me. It just feels weird.
You know, well, congratulations, obviously, for putting all the work
How
in.
about you, to be honest? Like, how does it feel for you? Like being approached?
I don't let people talk to me. Honestly, Robbie's my bodyguard, so he's got a pretty good stiff arm.
Yeah.
It's honestly it's always rewarding. There's a weird part, especially here in Bali, where it's become normalized, and like I try not to let it get to that point.
Yeah.
But I am on autopilot, and I agree. Like every person that comes up to me, I take the photo, I smile. I'm so stoked to meet them.
Yeah.
They are the reason I'm here. But it does, like every now and then, like I'm just like, why was it me? You know, like I'm not that. Like when I grew up,
that's
I'm normal as fuck.
That's saying what
I'm the most
thinking.
normal dude you'll ever meet. But the only thing that I do that's weird is I work really fucking hard. And like, I guess it's a realization that like the difference between me and the average person isn't skill. It's not the intelligence. It's not the looks. It's just the actual confidence,
the courage, the risk.
It's just the willpower.
And the willpower.
And the willpower, when you have such a strong willpower, you don't really care what the other, you know, what the downside is. Yeah. So I guess, you know, it's a realization that my greatest strength was just committing and not really worrying about what the downfall would be. And because of that, I'm able to meet so many amazing people. And I try to stay as like in that moment every time somebody says hi.
Yeah.
It happens like almost like no joke 10 times a day when I'm here in Bali.
Wow. Okay.
And so it's really a lot, but I never ever like I always give the time to that person because like they are the reason my life is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm
100%.
so grateful. And it's an interesting thing. Like I didn't ever think that would be the outcome of picking up that GoPro.
Yeah.
No.
100%. Same for me. But like, I actually have a question for you because obviously, like, you're a lot bigger on YouTube than me. Like,
guys, it's not a competition.
no, I'm asking,
way
way.
No, I'm just asking, like, does it ever get to a point where you say, I feel like I'm being watched and like I can't 100% be myself because I don't have my privacy?
See, I would say no, but then again, I realized that on my second channel, I'm way more myself than I am on my main channel. I wouldn't say it's because I'm being watched and I'm afraid of that. I'm more gamifying my content on first channel, whereas my second channel is just like retention rate doesn't really matter. I'm just like, you know, there's some small hint of like try to make sure it's watchable, but ultimately there's some shaky ass content being posted on the second channel. And that's okay. It's okay because it's meant to be raw. It's meant to be off the cuff and unrehearsed. And I don't go ahead and repeat my lines. Whereas on the main channel, I would be like, oh, I added therefore. I'm going to redo my whole sentence again because that extra therefore is going to slow down the intro by 0.5 seconds. Yeah. Like literally it's like a freaking robot. I mean, maybe it's working against me too. Like I have to be real that maybe if I had stayed unbelievably genuine in me the way we are right now on a podcast, my main channel could be even further ahead than it is now. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But I do know that right now I'm loving my second channel. I'm loving this podcast. It's my first day, even though it's my third podcast of the day. I'm loving this because it's just chatting, it's hanging out.
As well.
But yeah, there's definitely, different platforms have different kind of cultures to them. So
Yeah. I think my question was more like aimed towards like, do you go around here and you feel like, oh, I'm being watched? Like, do I have to act a certain way to live up to the image I built on my social media?
I'm so, despite what I just said, my main channel, I'm still who I am.
Yeah, sure.
I might be really like, thoughtful of what I'm saying, but I've never had to act a certain way in public. And that's a huge like relief of burden, because I know some people that like their content is like a totally separate personality, and then when they go out in public, they have to be mindful because their image. I've met vegans on Instagram that aren't vegans in real life, and so they'll take a bite out of their chicken and look over their shoulder.
Say names. Tell us who they are.
I won't say names. Some of them have already been caught in their shoes, and actually one of them got really dragged through the mud for it, which fair enough. I don't like people that pose, but ultimately no, it's chill. And also the average person that watches my videos, I mean, the demographics 25 to 34. It's generally skewed towards male on the YouTube long form side. It's like Americans. It's people who like, people follow you because they relate to you. And so therefore, if you put out who you really are as a person, you generally find that person in meeting them in person. And it goes so well. Like, I've only ever had one weird encounter, and it was, I probably had another couple.
Tell us about it.
I've had an awkward encounter, which I'm not going to quite mention, but I've had a weird encounter. And that was the only one in my life, was when I was here in Bali. This is about 3 years ago. I got on my bike and I'm riding down to a collab with a hotel. A villa. So it's a personal driveway, and it's like super long, like 200 meters down to this driveway. I get to the very end and I'm at my property in front of it, and I'm there for 3 nights. I look back and there's someone that's followed me, and I'm like, this is a personal driveway. Why are you here? And I looked at them. I'm like, hello? And they're like, are you Lost LeBlanc? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay. And then they just stared at me, and I'm like, well, do you want a photo? Like, what are we? What's happening next? I just
stare, bro.
And then like it felt like 10 seconds later, they just like slowly drive away. I'm like, lock the doors. But no, that was the fact that out of all of the amazing people I've met, there's only one moment that I truly remember as being a weird one. It's awesome. I don't ever feel I'm being watched in a bad way. If anything, it's just like, hell yeah, my videos are working. Like, somebody is here in Bali because of a video or whatever.
I think that's good what you mentioned. Like, if you're authentic by yourself, like, what do you have to be scared of? Like, you're yourself. Like, there's no mask you have to put on if people are watching you.
Yeah. And honestly, all the people that want to murder me are in Peru anyway, so it's all chill.
Why in Peru?
That's a story for another day.
Long story. I too get stopped by fans all of the time, Nicklas. Thank you for asking.
I have had literally people threaten my dogs' lives, but they're like 13 years old, so I don't take it too seriously.
Threaten your dog's life?
And my life,
Why
too.
would somebody do that?
Just, story for another day.
Sorry for another day. No, but circling back a little bit now, actually, to obviously these people that you do encounter, people that you do get to meet, because they do look up to you. Obviously, I think to some degree, these are people that have an interest as well in not only your story and how you're telling your story, but maybe also might kind of want to get into that field, or might want to get into YouTube and content creation. So I'd love to hear from both of you, what might be a good piece of advice that you'd give to someone who wants to start a YouTube channel today, someone who might be a little bit fearful to do it, or might be holding back for whatever reason. What would be your main piece of advice for them?
I think that thing we talked about earlier, like when it comes to confidence, I think that's one big step, because you need to be confident in order to like talk in front of a camera, in order to like take that leap of faith in yourself. So I think just like taking those first risks is the first step. And as soon as you have a couple of wins in your pockets, then to really like go for that big leap of faith and say like, okay, I'm either going to shift from a full-time job to a part-time job, and the rest of it I'm going to like dedicate towards being a creator. Or you save up with a full-time job for a long time, let's say a year, and then you say, okay, I have enough money for 1 or 2 years, and I'm going to give this a real shot. I think that's kind of like, the way I would go about it.
Yeah. For me, it's all about making obstacles manageable. So, you know, everybody's got a different pain tolerance, risk tolerance. And so for you to
comfort
go...
zone, really, like what their level of their comfort zone is, right? They have a different...
Everybody's in a different place. So for me to say, quit your job and go into this full... No, like that's not realistic for most people. Some people have kids that they have to put through, you know, school, and they've got bills. And I have to realize that not everyone's in the same boat. So you got to kind of set up these pillars and goals that are manageable. So for you, that might mean my goal for month 1 is to get a video up every week. Then, you know, once you start hitting those strides, you unlock a new level of confidence. You unlock a new belief in yourself. And that allows you to set a more ambitious goal for the next month. Or maybe you're moving quicker. Maybe it's every week you've got a new goal. But it's setting up like goals that you never let yourself fail on. And when you do, you make sure that you're accountable to your own expectations. Because if you're not accountable to yourself, you're not going to make it. You're the only person that can hold yourself accountable to moving forward. Nobody else. You can't rely on a mentor, on a partner, on anything. So you got to be your own biggest cheerleader and your hardest critic too.
Yeah.
My advice would be, just do it.
Yeah.
And we overlay him, of course.
We've done it before, and we'll do it again. Just
100%.
do it.
I think goal setting and self-awareness, I think these are the like key factors to really like grow in general in any aspect sort of like in your life.
And coffee.
Like if you sort of like just set goals and you like pursue them, and then like you also are aware of your failures and aware of your mistakes, and you know what to adjust, then like I think then it's going to be quite an easy way to...
Do you drink coffee?
If I drink coffee? No, I don't drink coffee at all.
How do you find that energy when you're feeling low?
I don't know, bro. Like,
You read your tattoo?
Sorry, I read my tattoo. Yeah, kind of like passion comes first.
Show the whole fam what we got here.
Passion comes first. Yeah,
Like
it's my first and my only tattoo so far. I want to get a tattoo for every country I live in. So I'm still thinking about what I'm gonna get here for Bali. Not quite sure yet.
Get a Bintang bottle.
The Bintang star just over here.
Yeah.
My friend got a tattoo on the beach. Like this is like 3 years ago. I almost said the other day, but it was really not. He got cliche on the back of his arm because like it's very cliche to get a tattoo. Anyways, it's funny because it's in cursive and it looks like it says dicks.
That's Cam, right?
Yep.
So
anyways, tattoos are great. On that note, you should totally get tattoos everywhere you go.
How many do you have?
I have I think I have 5 now, of which 40% of them I would probably remove if I could.
Really?
If I could just press a button and they'd be gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, I think tattoos have to come from a super sentimental and meaningful place. This one I love. This one for me is like a Wi-Fi symbol. I'm like, probably could have done that one better. This one is like super sentimental, would never change a thing about it. It's like...
I think it's kind of the
brand.
same as for me, to be honest.
Yeah, see, that one, don't rush tattoos, in my eyes at least. Some people are like so the opposite, where they're like, it's just skin. You know? We're sitting in front of one of those people. And I think...
I got one recently on a gravestone that says "Living the Dream."
That is a new one. So yeah, cameraman Ryan has a giant collection of tattoos, and he'll get them very liberally. In fact, you got one on the last trip we did in the hotel.
With a dart on an island.
I don't think anyone can hear you, unfortunately, but
I subtitle it. They do. I subtitle it.
Yeah. He's saying somebody paid him $1 to get it,
so
and he got it.
Tattoos.
Yeah, tattoos are tattoos for sure.
So on the note, obviously, of
100%.
of like advice that you give to people who are just thinking of starting out on YouTube. Obviously, now we progress. You've started out on YouTube. You're doing really, really well. What's next, Nicklas? What's next on the cards for you? I know Colombia is sort of somewhere down the line, but what's next for you?
What is next? So right now I'm basically like working on my own course.
Yeah.
So that takes up like all my time at the moment.
No
also
doubt.
like blew up way bigger than I expected, and like
I told you.
You've been telling me, and
Yeah.
So that's kind of like on the line, I guess, for at least the end of the year.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know, like hopefully launching some point beginning next year.
Hopefully 2024, 2025.
No,
No, but it's
I don't
important
hope so.
to diversify income streams, and
100%.
you're taking a bit of a step back on your YouTube channel to be able to do this, but obviously it's like a short-term loss for long-term gain.
Yeah, and that again was a leap of faith in myself, to be honest. Like you are pursuing YouTube, you're putting out a video every second week, and then you say, hey, like I want to build up another income stream, which is going to enable me to be less reliable on sponsors, to do bigger projects. Yeah, that's why I basically said like, okay, I'm going to take a break from YouTube as long as it takes, which is probably going to be more than a half year.
Yeah.
And
scary feeling.
Yeah, it's a scary feeling, 100%. And hopefully it's going to teach me something as well.
It goes back to courage and risk, right? Like taking that leap.
Like, honestly, like I'm right now taking the biggest leaps of faith in myself like than I ever did. Like I hired 2 people. I'm spending a lot of money on like building up something which I don't know, like it's not completely sure if it's going to perform. I hope it will. It's just, yeah, like it's again like taking a new risk. But so basically like the online course is kind of like on the calendar until like beginning of next year, and then after that I just want to dedicate all of my time, as much time as I can possibly can, towards creating the most amazing YouTube videos that are out there.
Yeah.
Like I want to tell the most insane stories, either about my personal growth or also about the growth of other people. I would love to get the chance to tell the stories of like NGOs who do like a huge impact in the world, because I feel like, I don't know, storytelling is such a strong tool, and if you're able to tell a story of another person or of another organization, you're going to give them such a strong purpose, and I would love to do that. So yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of different plans going into the next year, but for right now I'm just focused on working on the course.
Good man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we have this little tradition on the Lost Creator podcast where at the end of the show we go 3, 2, 1, create cool shit. So we just got to do that. Bring it in.
It's a jingle. It's a jingle. It's an official
jingle. Is it a jingle?
Yeah.
Like, are people going to hear something?
Oh,
and people back home, they do it too. They do it with us.
They do it with us.
Yeah.
We've done it on every episode.
Every episode.
On every episode.
So bring it in.
So bring it in, and then we say.
Honestly, if I don't see you, like.
Come on in, Ryan. Put on the glove though.
So it was. Don't forget. It's 3, 2, 1. Let's create awesome shit.
No, it's create and neat stuff too.
And neat stuff too.
Yeah. So
let's create awesome shit and neat stuff too.
And the final thing is create
okay.
awesome shit.
Yeah.
You ready?
Okay, ready?
3, 2, 1. Create.
Let's create awesome shit and neat stuff too.
Yeah.
And
cool.
That's the jingle that we do every single time.
Yep. Good warm up. Let's do it
think
again.
You got to work on that.
All right. I think we should end it.
No,
bye.
No. Obviously, Nicklas, before we go, obviously, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your.
Thank you for
time.
having
Christian,
me.
Thank you so much for.
Do I have a choice?
With this? No, you don't. You're.
Yep.
Thank you so much for.
I'm so glad these cameras operate themselves.
Yeah, no. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it, Christian. Thank you for being an awesome co-host. And obviously, we want to just give you the opportunity for people who follow you, for people who don't follow you. If you have any lost messages to share with them, look down the lens and speak away.
Okay, I guess all I would say is try to figure out what you're passionate about in your life. Give yourself a chance to take a leap of faith in yourself and pursue that thing. And go along with it as far as you can until you achieve that thing. Because honestly, like the only thing that is going to get you to the end point is the belief in yourself. So try to build up that belief in yourself by just like checking off one goal after another.
3, 2, 1. Create cool shit
and neat stuff too. Hey! Thank you so much for joining us for another amazing episode of the Lost Creator podcast. If you're at home, have a drink with us, and we'll see you next week. Cheers. Prost.
See ya.
Prost.
That was a good one there, bud.